Good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Hello. My name is Hajjah Abdul-Rasheed, and thank you so much for joining us on our program today. This evening, we'll learn a little bit about the jewels, who they are, their history, and all of the good work that they do. This virtual program is a part of a larger program called In the Path of Islam project, and it's made possible by the Free Library of Philadelphia and the Doris Duke Foundation for Islamic Art. For more information about the program and the scheduled programming, because this is not the only program, please go to freelibrary.org/Path of Islam. It's all one word, or contact us at mmw@freelibrary.org. So traditionally with Muslims, we start out everything that we do with a dua. And so I want to read a little bit of Arabic, well, recite rather, a little bit of Arabic, and then I will read what I recite in English so that everyone can know what I'm talking about. Okay? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yulid wa lam yulad, wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Okay, here's the English. In the name of God, the most merciful, the most compassionate, say, He is God one, God, the everlasting refuge, who has not begotten and has not been begotten, and equal to him is not anyone. Okay, thank you. So first I will introduce our panelists here that we have today. We have three sisters. They are all jewels. I'm going to introduce them one by one and have them wave hello. First, we have Sister Rafiqa Abdul-Rasheed. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Rafiqa. We have Sister Aisamah Muhammad-Muneer. Wave for us.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. And we have Sister Linda Toia. Please wave for us, Sister Linda.
Assalamu alaikum. Good to be with you all.
Thank you. So those will be our panelists. First, we will start out with Sister Rafiqa Abdul-Rasheed. Sister Rafiqa, can you tell us a little background about yourself and about the jewels?
Certainly. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. I was baptized Catholic when I was a baby. My parents were Catholic and sent me to Catholic school. Even as a little girl, I had a strong belief in one God. As the years went by, I knew I was on a journey in faith. After I got married in 1972, my husband became Muslim, and he made Hajj in 1975. And after seeing how it changed him for the better, I began studying Islam and took my Shahada, which is the Declaration of Faith, in 1976. We would attend the Islamic Center on Broad Street in Philadelphia, which was a Sunni community. In 1985, I made Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca, and while on Hajj at Mount Arafat, I prayed that I would be able to start a program for Muslim women. After I got my master's degree in gerontology in 1989, a friend of mine referred me to Hajjah Fatima Ali. I told her about what I wanted to do, and she and Sister Shahida Muhammad met in my house and planned the program for older Muslim women. We started the program in June 1989 and met in a recreation center, and afterwards started to look for a permanent location. And Imam Abdul Alim at that time was the resident Imam of Masjidullah, and is a noted scholar, was the first to respond, and we have been meeting at Masjidullah ever since in their old location on 7700 Ogans Avenue in Philadelphia. In 2016, Masjid Allah moved to 7401 Limekill Pike, and we have been meeting there regularly. The program took a new direction and has been open to women of all faiths. Masjid Allah has done a lot of interfaith work through the years, and Imam Abdul Halim has got us involved in peace walks and other interfaith events, as well as Imam Mikhail Shabazz and our current Imam Idris Zahir continues it. We have some Christian members from St. Peter's Episcopal Church in Glenside, Pennsylvania, and Catholic women from St. Malachi's Church in Philadelphia, and a rabbi from New Jersey. The women from the other faith-based communities enjoy the program and feel welcome because we are all seniors and addressing certain needs at this point in our lives. We have attended St. Peter's Episcopal Church for their interfaith events, and they come to our interfaith events. Since the pandemic, we have been meeting on Zoom. Jewels of Islam is a supportive network and an interfaith component to it now since 2016. And we have been having so many different activities for our seniors. We have yoga, we have other social and recreational activities. We have speakers in the field of aging, and we have so many positive responses since we started the program. And God willing, we hope to continue to have this beautiful program for women 50 years and older. It has been such a joy working with the Jewels. The Jewels are a dynamic group of women from all walks of life. And we have people that are working on their PhDs, and they're doing such beautiful things in the community, not just the Islamic community, but all over in the larger community as well. And the Jewels really share in loving to do intergenerational programs. We host several intergenerational programs, at least 3 or 4 times a year at Masjid Allah. And we also have a number of other very interesting speakers in the field of aging that come to our program, and they also enjoy talking to the Jewels. The Jewels always have such interesting responses and questions to certain things in the field of what their needs are, and they're able to get such great responses. And they also love to participate in our masjid at Masjid Allah. Not all of our Jewels are from Masjid Allah. We have Jewels from all over the country, and it's quite a unique program, and probably the only program of its kind that I know of. And the Jewels are now on, since the pandemic, we've been on Zoom, but inshallah, God willing, we hope after this pandemic is over to come back to meeting in person and enjoying the company of each other and taking care of our Jewels. We have a telephone network that is dynamic. We have Jewels that are just trying to keep the baton going while I'm still here and trying to learn more of how to do that. And as I said before about our dear sister, Hajjah Fatima Ali, she is very dynamic. She's known not just in Masjid Allah, but all over the country. And she's such a giving sister think about it, at 92 years old, she can do all of these things. She's affectionately called her 24-hour sister. People love her so much.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have anything else to add about the jewels before we move on to our next section? Okay. Next, we will have Sister Aisamah. Sister Aisamah, can you tell us a little bit about your background and your beginnings in Islam and about the jewels and the interfaith aspect of it?
Yeah, thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum. Greetings of peace to one and all. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share a segment of my story this evening, supporting this in the Path of Islam project. I am Sister Aisamah Muhammad-Muneer, entrepreneur, business community organizer, and stakeholder. Under my Aisamah's Originals and Associates LLC, established 1995, I have multiple for-profit and nonprofit entities. Programmatic initiatives designed with the focus on empowering self, motivating others, and inspiring change for Muslim women and girls. I was born and raised in Philadelphia, one of 7 children. My parents raised us Baptists with God consciousness, teaching us of family values, spiritual and economic development, as well as the importance of social involvement by a way of giving back. From a young age, I always had a desire and interest of making a difference. Having witnessing and experiencing the injustices and inconsistencies around me, I grew with the heart and belief that with education, work, and consistency through community service, that I could make a difference by changing conditions, at least in my immediate community. I embraced Islam in about 1976, at which time I had learned how diverse the Islamic community of Philadelphia actually was. I myself entered the knowledge of Islam via the Moorish American sciences and learned that identity mattered. At that point is when I really learned the importance of how identity mattered, and was introduced by individuals and terms like Orthodox Muslim, or NOI, Nation of Islam, or Ansari community in Philadelphia, and International Muslim Brotherhood. It was later that I had determined that only by the permission and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that each experience, no matter the selection or entity or entry to Islam by others or myself, which means, based on that, the thing that ultimately brought me clarity was that we all were professing to be Muslim. Out of all of the different identities that I had learned about at that time in embracing Islam, we all were professing to be Muslim, and which means one who submits his will to Allah. And by Allah's permission and guidance, each experience led to the Islamic monotheism religion and Sunni or Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And to that point, that's where I introduced to Allah be the judge. So no matter the experience that I had embarked upon and the difference of the experiences, I learned that the bottom line was that we were ultimately, when I see us now today, we come back to full circle to that oneness and that recognition. The jewels of Islam to me were admired, respected pioneership. That's how I looked upon them. I had learned of the jewels, but not really decided, but really hadn't embraced them until about 1995. What captivated me by my interest was that their platform and their programs that outreach to Muslim women of the community 50 years and older. Now, myself, I was about 10 or 11 years shy of membership age. So I pretty much watched from a distance and considered potential collaborative opportunities for later. As the sisterhood in the community grew, family to family, from masjid to masjid, through my other community services ventures, I had met with and interacted with Jewel members along the way. So even though I wasn't directly affiliated by way of membership, I was embraced with the sisterhood nonetheless. It was Jewel Rafiqa, her spirit and her demeanor that made me feel welcomed. And it was she who embraced my contributions in the later years to the collective that I brought to the table as time moved on. With that, I like to just at this point kind of extend to my sister coming in, who you'll be speaking to and hearing from, Sister Linda, and she can begin and she can share, you'll hear in her story, how I bridged the sisterhood through the Jewels of Islam and the Interfaith Walk of Peace Collaborative. Thank you.
Shukran, Sister Aisamah. Okay, we will move on to Sister Linda. Can you tell us a little bit about your involvement and connection with the Jewels, and a little bit about the diversity aspect within the Jewels?
Okay, thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Well,
It's great to be here. I am absolutely delighted to be here with my sisters, Rafiqa and Sister Aisamah. This is a real gift to be together in the same computer screen.
Yeah.
I've asked myself this question: how is it that someone like me, who grew up in Plymouth, Massachusetts, went to a private Catholic school, led a rather sheltered life, and thought the only people going to heaven were Roman Catholic, and I really felt sorry for everybody else? How is it that I got involved in the Interfaith Peace Walk and became a Jewel? I believe the answer is God, Allah. I deeply believe that God has been guiding me on this path that led me to these remarkable groups. My parents were deeply involved in the Catholic Church. I have 4 siblings, and my parents were hardworking and compassionate. I had strong roots, and I was encouraged to ask questions. As my life journey took its many twists and turns, I made the decision to join the Episcopal Church in my mid-20s. I was introduced to the interfaith world and went to a meeting at Al-Aqsa Islamic Society one year, 2004, on a dark, chilly night. This was my first experience in a mosque. I was really moved by the commitment and the deep spirituality of the members of the different faith traditions and the people there as they spoke that evening. I have actually rarely missed a meeting since that night, and I have been for years the head of the program committee for the Interfaith Peace Walk. The way I became connected to Sister Rafiqa and Sister Aisamah was through this group, the Philadelphia Interfaith Walk for Peace and Reconciliation. Our first walk was in 2004, and we're going to have our 19th walk on May 22nd in the Germantown, Roxborough areas of the city. We're excited about being able to walk together after 2 years of virtual peace walk programs on Zoom. Our walks involve 3 houses of worship. Whenever possible, we include a mosque, a synagogue, and a Christian church. It's an interesting challenge each year to find 3 houses of worship that are open to having an interfaith gathering, large enough to hold up to 200 and 300 people, and are within walking distance of each other. Our walks have taken place in several areas of the city, and we often stay in an area for 2 years. Our hope is to bring people together in different geographic locations and to grow the network of our interfaith community in Philadelphia. We have programs at each house of worship involving people of different faith traditions, and then we walk together. It's like a walking dialogue in a safe space, and we finally end the afternoon by eating and visiting. It's a wonderful way to meet people of different religions and cultures. The Peace Walk group meets throughout the year, and we take part in a variety of interfaith and social justice programs, and we also do service projects. We say that the Peace Walk takes place all year, and we come together one day in the year to walk and dialogue together. The Peace Walk was held in West Philadelphia in 2009 and 2010. And during that time, I had the privilege of working with Sistah Aisamah as we prepared for the walk. She and I became friends, and she invited my husband, Frank, and me to her wedding in 2012. Frank and I arrived early for the wedding and saw Sister Rafiqa and her husband there when we arrived. It turns out that we were seated at the same table, and the four of us had a delightful evening together. We discovered that Sister Rafiqa actually worked as a social worker sometimes with Vic Comfort, a good friend and the person who had the inspiration to start the Peace Walk. In 2016, the Peace Walk was held in West Oak Lane, and Masjidullah was one of our houses of worship. Imam Abdul Halim had been involved with the Peace Walk for many years and welcomed us with a genuine sense of hospitality and openness. During my visits to the masjid, I kept hearing about this wonderful group of women called the Jewels, and confess I loved the name of the group. I kept hoping for an opportunity to connect with the Jewels. And then at one of the interfaith events at Masjidullah, Rafiqa spoke with me and invited me to a meeting of the Jewels. I immediately said yes. And in August 2017, I attended my first meeting with the Jewels. At first, I thought this would just be an opportunity to visit and get to know some of the Jewels. But after attending my first gathering, I realized I had been led to this unique and truly humbling experience. It is a privilege and a joy to be with these women who come from such different backgrounds than I do. We listen to each other's stories. We study Arabic together. We do yoga, and we learn from excellent speakers, and we eat together. Some of the women from my Episcopal church have come to the Jewels gatherings, and some of the Jewels have come to interfaith gatherings at my church. The Jewels support each other, and some of the Jewels attended my husband's memorial service 3 years ago, and it was a great source of comfort for me that they were there. I'm honored that Sister Rafiqa, Sister Aisamah, and the Jewels have welcomed me into their community, and I look forward to the day when we can be together in person one more time for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Linda. Since we're already speaking with you, I have to ask, what do you want your legacy to be? Like, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to leave your legacy with the Jewels as?
Thank you. Over the years, I've had the opportunity of meeting with young adults from different countries, as well as from the Philadelphia area. They tell me that they are inspired by our Peace Walk group, seeing us at this stage of our lives, still committed to creating a positive approach to developing relationships with people of different faiths and cultures. It gives them hope, they tell me, and it gives them the courage to reach out to people who seem very different from them. And yet, the more we do this, the more we realize we are more alike than different at our deeper level. My dream is that these young people and others will continue to be inspired and committed to interfaith and intercultural relationships well into the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Sister Aisamah, I'll ask a similar question. What do you want your legacy with the jewels to be? What do you want to leave with your community?
Thank you for that. Well, my legacy, referencing my legacy, it is my prayer that through the continued guidance, blessings, and mercies of Allah, that my role as a righteous woman in creation, as a wife, as a helpmate, as a mother, and as a sister to my community, sisterhood and brotherhood, and my overall services to the humanity, that my contribution through my art, my voice, my service prove to assist others and become a lasting part of their remembrance as I'm long gone. But most of all, that it proves pleasing to Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I approach that humbly, I have to say. I approach that very humbly because I know that we're with the time that we're limited on this earth, still the time that we share with others is valued, is very precious. And I'm a presenter girl, you know, first impressions that you get from someone, the connections that Allah allows us to be able to come together in and what commonly draws us together serves us here in this existence, but it also radiates the importance of how we interact with one another, both folks of our own peers, of our own faiths, and those who are not. So that matters to me. And that continues even with in my work. And I'm hoping that continues on through my offspring and what we develop here while we're able to contribute something to our development here in this community. And then the legacy with Jewels is also, I mean, their outreach has been, it just creates an environment that is shared, that shares education, it shares networking, it shares engaging, it's very welcoming, the environment that the Jewels has developed there over at Masjid Allah and throughout the years. And I see the respect and the respect that I render to them, the pioneership, the sisterhood. I'm hoping that that's continually embraced. I'm hoping that their works, the efforts of their works continue on by our ability to be able to pass the baton to the growing generations to come. Those young ladies, those young women whom we witness in our development grow up in our Islamic community, throughout the community, interacting with the individuals by way of their education or their service to the community. It is my hope that they grab that baton and continue the works of the Jewels of Islam and grant them their just due, just by existing ongoing beyond our existence. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, thank you. And
Inshallah.
yes, inshallah, always. Last but most certainly not least, Sister Rafiqa, what do you want your legacy with the Jewels to be?
I would like to be remembered as a person that provided a program that addressed the needs for older women and a place for them to come to combat loneliness and have activities. I would like to have sisters come forward to be able to continue the Jewels of Islam program after I am no longer here, and to have the interfaith and intergenerational components continue, and that our goal is achieved to have senior housing. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, shukran. Okay, so at this time, we will open the floor for questions. If there are any questions that you want to ask our Jewels, feel free to drop them in the chat and we will get them answered. I thought I already saw a few. I do see one question. How often do the Jewels meet and on what days?
Okay, since the pandemic, we have been meeting on Zoom the second Sunday of the month. And we have a microcosm of what we usually have when we were able to meet in person, which is we always have a speaker, or we have yoga, or we have dance therapy, and a support group segment of our program. And it's something now, since we have sisters all over the country and other states, they have a chance to get on Zoom and enjoy the program as well.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Let's see what else we have. Okay, do we have any other questions for the jewels from the audience? Okay, I think someone, is it more inclusive if it's virtual, the jewels program?
Yes, it is, because as I said before, we can have our sisters from other states. We have sisters in Philadelphia, New Jersey, Georgia, Arizona, and Maryland. And they have really enjoyed the Zoom component. So inshallah, God willing, if this pandemic ends and we can come back face to face, we will still have that component of Zoom sometimes. But usually before the pandemic, we would meet on a weekly basis every Tuesday at Masjid Allah. And we would have our activities, and we have a very nutritious plant-based lunch, vegan or halal.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So in order to be a jewel, you mentioned you have to be 55 and up. What are the opportunities for people who may be a little bit younger than that, but still want to have some sort of involvement with the jewels?
Okay, we do have, the program, by the way, is for jewels 50 and older.
Oh,
You have to be 50 and older. But we really need volunteers in the program. So if you're not yet 50, you're still welcome to come and participate. Jewel, one of the things about having a program like this starting at 50 is it's a transition period to what usually in society thinks of aging as 65 and older. So this prepares sisters for that aging process. So if you're younger, our younger volunteers enjoy just being with the jewels and listening to their stories and their experiences. So it really makes a very good match for them as well.
Okay. Do the jewels take stands on health issues such as vaccinations or family planning?
Well, yes, we do verbally, sometimes we go out with different groups that are involved in advocating for different things. And we also have speakers that come in and tell us about advocacy and, opportunities for our jewels. And you have to remember also that some of our jewels that are not 65, they're still working. And so the program is nice when we have it on Sundays for them.
Okay, thank you. How many members do you have here in Philadelphia?
Okay, we have about 50 to 55 people. usually, but all over the country, total of around 200 members. But about 50 that are active. Sometimes on Zoom, it's about 40 to 50.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Okay, so in for the Zoom link for the meetings, I'm going to drop Sister Rafiqa's email address in to the chat, and you can contact her for the links to the meeting. But we are very glad that everyone is excited about being a jewel.
And can I chime in at this
Yes,
time?
please.
In support of what was shared about how other sisters can get involved or are involved, even though they're not 50 and older, I had the opportunity of collaborating with Sister Rafiqa and the Jewels, of course, focusing on our Hajj send-off opportunity. That's one of the other things annually that the Jewels also offered, an opportunity for sisters who are going on Hajj for the year to come to be a part of. And what we did was outreach by providing gift packs for those traveling Muslim or those traveling for Hajj. And when we had the send-off, it opened an opportunity for them to invite family members, other younger sisters who came on board and helped with the volunteer process of that and establishing that, and allowed us an opportunity to engage, to interact and support by sharing experiences and direction for and assistance for the sisters who are offering or about to offer Hajj. So that was a phenomenal, and inshallah, I'm looking forward to that hopefully continuing once we get back from this pandemic and this hit that it has. And even if we have to figure a way of doing it in a way that still keeps us safe health-wise and et cetera. But that is a phenomenal program that they have. And I look forward to continuing that effort as we move forward. So to answer your question, that is one of the ways that others can get involved with the process.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any final questions?
I just want to say too that we are, the only program like it in the United States that's on a volunteer basis. We operate all on a volunteer basis, and we have some help from time to time with supporters and sponsors, but we need more sponsors. We need more supporters to really give us a hand so that we can do more. We have so many wonderful activities that it takes money to do all of these things. And we've had a very good response from Philadelphia Corporation for Aging when we had our 30th anniversary project. And they've always been there to help out when we have events, but we need much, much more. And that's one of our roots right now.
Thank you. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for attending our program. Please visit us at freelibrary.org/Path of Islam for updates on more programming and the entire project. And also we have an exhibition opening on March 21st. So meet us down at the Central Library, the Parkway Central Library at 1901 Vine Street. And you can even get a guided tour by our very own Sister Aisamah. She'll be doing tours. And feel free to come in and see the things that we have in our exhibit, as well as join our programs. And I've been dropping in the chat the entire time. If you need more information about the jewels, we have Sister Rafiqa's email address. And if you need more information about the Interfaith Peace Walk, I've dropped that in the chat as well. But for tonight, I will bid everyone a good night and assalamu alaikum, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much.
Like,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank
Assalamu
you.
alaikum.
Thanks,
Alhamdulillah.
everyone.